Hello everybody, it's Jake Brenneman with Shannon, Grimm Partners at Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, and today I'm joined with Mark Chambers with Regent Homes. How are you?
Great. I appreciate being here on this gorgeous day in the fall.
It is very nice out. Well, we just thought we'd come on and ask you a few different questions about Regent Homes and kind of what you guys do that's special. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about what Regent Homes does and what's so special about them?
Okay. Well, Regent Homes is a build on your lot specialist where we actually will go ahead and if a homeowner either wants to acquire a lot or is looking for a lot, we'll help them in the evaluation. We work with their realtors a lot in pre-evaluating before they write the contract, so they know maybe some terms to put in there or timelines for various kinds of due diligence and or zoning type concerns to look at and things like that to determine whether or not it's a good site for them and to make sure they have enough time to do what they want and that the type of home that they want that'll meet their lifestyle actually would be suitable for that lot and location and the zoning restrictions.
In terms of design, you guys actually do something pretty special in terms of kind of something virtual related. Why don't you just kind of explain that?
We do. We use the Oculus 3D system with one of the designers we work with so that the homeowner actually, while we're in the 2D stage of paper drawings, line drawings, can actually put on the Oculus headset and we walk through the house in 3D before we ever start framing or getting into a point where it's expensive to make changes. This way they can virtually walk through the house as though it existed and stick their head in the pantry closets and other cabinets and things to make sure that it actually flows properly, door swings, that the fireplace location will in fact work for where their furniture is going to be and all their doors. It's really neat and it helps you catch things early on because many people have a difficult time visualizing from a blueprint really what their house is going to be like. And this does, gives them that ability. And now we do it in grayscale because we don't want them to go down the bunny trail of, I want that wall to be green. The decorating side is not really the purpose of this. It's done really to help them get a better sense of what the lifestyle in that house would be.
Yeah, so the fridge doesn't open up until the island, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So you mentioned build on your own lot. And why don't you kind of explain that to us as well as just your overall process, kind of how long you're seeing homes take right now?
Sure. Generally, the build on your lot process involves that. The homeowner has either purchased a lot already or they're looking at lots to build their home on. And so we do that because it's not practical for many builders to build outside of a subdivision. But we've also found in central Ohio it's getting more and more difficult to find developed lots in subdivisions and locations that are available. So people have found that they've had to go out to the more outlying areas, some of the more rural areas and whatever, and in dealing with that they're finding out that they don't have public sewer and maybe public water, so they have to learn about septic systems and wells and things like that that they maybe didn't ever grow up with or know about before, and some of that can be very foreign. So we work through all of that and the expenses of that, if it has to have propane or not, and what impact that might have on their design and build process. And then we work with them, as I mentioned earlier, to go ahead and develop the lot itself to get it ready if they want. We work with them very flexibly to do as much or as little of that work as they want. Some people have it already with the drive cut in and utilities brought back and they've done some fill in some areas where it maybe needed it, and that's fine. Others just say, I bought this ground, I have no idea what we got to do, just tell me and do it. And take care of it and then build my house and let me know when I can move in.
Yeah.
And then from that process, so from that point, we work on the acquisition. They get in contract. At that point, then we either take a plan they have or one that they would like and start working with the designers to implement that. At the same time we're doing that, we're having them go ahead and make selections because what we do is custom, so it's whatever they want. Custom does not necessarily have to mean it's exorbitant in cost. If somebody wants laminated countertops, that suits their needs, that's still custom. It's designed to them and their needs, and it doesn't mean there's another one 400 feet away that's the same house just with different colors in it or whatever. It's just this was designed around their lifestyle and their needs. Move forward with that. They do preliminary selections so that we can then develop a budget once we get the bid drawings from the architect. And when we have the bid drawings, they're not complete construction drawings, but they're probably 3/4 of the way there. And then you go ahead and move forward. We put together a preliminary estimate and bid if they're comfortable with that. we go ahead and move forward to contract, getting the documents into construction shape, getting permits, and then we start digging. And it has been a little bit different for people now with the timing.
Of course.
As I'm sure everybody's heard, with supply chain and labor and all of that, it's gotten to be a bit of a challenge. Fortunately, in my respect, the homes that I build, I choose not to deliver a house under 10 months, and preferably, typically it's more going to be a year anyway, but I won't deliver a house even if I can under 10 months. I like things to cure and settle in and not have to have a lot of callbacks and warranty issues when people move in. Honestly, we don't typically have many, if any, warranty issues at all. And many times I never go back. It's a house I built 3 years ago. I've never been back in the house since the day I gave them the keys.
Yeah.
It's just, that's our goal. Let things settle and cure and dry in and move that way. But in the event there is an issue, of course, we would do that. But it's taking a little bit longer now. Most people are finding those that used to would build them in 6 months to 8 months. Well, you can't get some of those materials and the labor's lined up to do it anymore at this point, and things have stalled. So it is taking builders in general longer, and I would say 12 months for people that used to build in 6 to 7 months is not unusual.
No,
some
not
even
at all.
longer. A lot of the custom homes that I build, depending on complexity, it really varies, can be anywhere from 12 to 24 months. That's obviously a larger, more elaborate, home and property. It depends on how much detail and how much of customized finishes and things they're putting in. If you're trying to import tile from Italy or somewhere, well, that could take you a little longer. So you may have that extended time and downtime, and of course takes longer to install some of these things. Or if there's a lot of mill work going in the house, then of course the carpenters need to be in there a lot longer. We're drawing pictures on the walls of what the profiles will look like that they want, and helping them envision the interior finishes. So that's kind of how that has worked out. So it hasn't impacted us as much time-wise as it has those that would typically be building houses in less than a year. They've been severely impacted by this.
Yeah. And what deposit or money are you looking at for people needed to get into one of your homes?
Sure. We generally work off of a 10% deposit. At the time we go into contract, which is after we did the preliminary bid estimate off of the bid drawings. So we sit down, we review that. Prior to that, we have a pre-development agreement because we're doing the site evaluation and going to make selections with them and working through this budget process, because I have a 65 line item spreadsheet that I put together to develop this budget. It's fairly detailed. And so to offset some of that, I do have that design fee. It's not very significant. And that gets applied. If they go into contract, that just gets applied to the overall cost. And I typically do cost plus most often, just because of the nature of custom homes. It tends to benefit the homeowners quite a bit to do that, because with custom there can be so many variables down the road in costs that you'd have to almost build in such a margin or contingency so that you didn't get caught in something that was highly custom and required lots of deposits and things that to make that work. So it's been, so far it's been very workable and successful for clients and for our company as well.
Very good. Well, finally, why don't you tell us a little bit about this beautiful home we're in today?
This house we designed for a lady that actually decided she wanted to spend some time and stay in the area. She was from the area, but she had been looking for a couple of years for land, and this land came available, and we had to do a little work on it. As I have mentioned, it's 13 lots put together to make a 1.25 acre site, but it's a beautiful setting. It took a little bit of zoning variances and things to do that, and then we designed a house that worked on it. And the challenge was, of course, that the lots in here are only 110 feet deep, and then when you have a 25-foot setback in the back and the front, we had 47 feet to work with on the depth of the house. We had all the width we needed in the world, but we needed to get a variance, and part of the variance was to get a little bit more depth. So we had 52 feet to work with on depth, and the house is, from end to end, is 104 feet wide, and it's 52 feet deep. It's a 2,700-foot ranch, the board and batten, modern farmhouse style that has become very popular. And then the inside is an open floor plan with the great room, dining room concept, some vaulted ceilings and beams. a combination of stone and rustic beams throughout it. Master is separated on one end, and then the other living quarters for the guest bedroom on the other end. Her office overlooking this beautiful pond. And the lower level has an exercise area that's been finished, as well as an extra bedroom and bathroom in the walkout area. And there's still about 1,500 square feet left over if somebody needed to expand, because that wasn't enough room. They've got plenty of space to do that, and we put in the egress window wells to accommodate that in the future if somebody wants to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mark. Why don't you tell people how they can get in contact with you?
Great. Well, you can either get a hold of me directly by my cell phone, which is 614-496-5352, or we also have a website, regent-homes.com, and that gives you some information and some ideas, talks about our building process and some of the things we've done. But I always tell people, if they can imagine it, they want it, it's legal, and they're willing to pay for it, our job is to do that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.